And welcome in everyone to RedRaiders.com. I'm Zach Long, that is Krista Pirtle, and today we're taking a look at the state of Texas Tech basketball, both the men and the women. And Krista, let's start first with the Lady Raiders. Oh my goodness, they were oh so close to getting that first Big 12 win. They drop a heartbreaker in overtime to Iowa State.
They did. They had it in 40 minutes, but the last 5 kind of hung them up. Amber Battle went off with 24 points. Iowa State head coach Bill Finley said she's better in person than on video, and she was. And she was great. She also had some help this game from Minta Spears and Avalanche-Journal with 16 points each, and that is something that this team has needed so far throughout the season.
You know, that's something amazing. Actually, the day of the game, you wrote a preview article and you said Texas Tech has to develop a secondary or even third scoring threat if they're going to be competitive to Amber Battle. They sure as heck did that on Saturday. And how about Yvonne Cook-Taylor? Where'd the fadeaway come from?
She's been doing that in practice all the time. She's got a little crossover, step back, fadeaway. Her follow through is great. She's got a great arch on it, sinks it every time. She's fantastic. Minta finally stepped up. She's been struggling in conference play. She had her first 3-pointer. She said that helped. You've got her, you've got Yvonne Cook-Taylor, and you've got Jasmine Caston. She only had 6 points, but both of those threes came in really opportune times for the Lady Raiders.
And Krista, you know coaches don't like to get caught up in the crap of moral victories, right? You don't want, that's not what they're here to do. They're here to win. But when you're looking at this Lady Raider program, things have been a little rough lately, especially in conference play. Saturday was one of those times where we finally looked at them and went, holy cow, they're capable of putting it together when they want to.
That was the first time they've put things together. They actually played offense, played defense, rebounded, passed the ball at the same time, which is the first time all season they've done that. And Coach, she said it is what it is. They weren't happy about that loss at all, but it was a step in the right direction, not just for this season, but for next season as well, as the recruiting trail is really starting to heat up.
And they're going to need to go a step in the right direction Wednesday with the Baylor Bears.
They are. Baylor just clinched the Big 12 lead with an overtime win at Oklahoma State. Odyssey Sims, number 2 in the nation with 29.7 points per game. She's crazy. She's been asked to score more, but the point guard role has been taken away from her as Nia Johnson has taken that. You've got both of them, and then you've got Nina Davis, a freshman forward who is surprising everyone. She just got Freshman of the Week honors from the Big 12, and she's impressive on the boards.
If you're Candy Whitaker and the Texas Tech women's team, you want to right some wrongs? Pop Baylor and Waco, and people are going to forget about how that season started, and they're going to concentrate on how you finish. Krista, the Texas Tech men, they were off to a great start there for a while. Last week, not so good. They lose in Morgantown to West Virginia, and then they come out slightly uninspired against Oklahoma and never recovered from that initial stanza in a loss to the Sooners.
Coach Smith wasn't happy. His players weren't happy at all. He said there was no effort, and there wasn't, except for Alex Foster, who had 8 points, 8 boards, and 14 minutes of play. Said he earned himself some more playing time. And then also Jamal Williams. He didn't score, but he had great defensive presence, great energy, and that's what that team needed in the loss against Oklahoma.
And you didn't have to be a genius in the arena to look at Tubby Smith, and he was not happy. But the thing I love about Tubby Smith, he is a perfectionist. He demands perfection out of his basketball team. And even though he's upset and yelling, if you listen to the man, what's he doing?
He's coaching.
He's coaching. He's absolutely coaching. And those are the things, if you're a Texas Tech fan and you're watching this program, that you want to see. They're so much better than they were last year, but they're successful and they know they can be successful on a high level. They have to get back to what made them successful, especially in that upset win over Baylor a few weeks ago.
Absolutely. And I just got back from talking with Coach Smith, and he said that after the West Virginia loss, he said they watched a little film, and he said, I guess I didn't get what I was trying to tell him. So yesterday, they watched the first half of the Oklahoma game. Today, they watched the second half. He's nitpicking. He's saying, hey, if you do this small thing right, this can lead to something else. And Jay Crockett said that there were so many times in transition where Oklahoma would score a layup, and the first defender for Tech didn't even cross half court. And so they really need to step that up. They're looking at the small things, and they want to really correct that going into K-State.
And that's going to be a tough game up there in Manhattan, Kansas. They play well. They've been a good basketball team this year, but they're especially tough at home. What does Texas Tech have to do to go into Manhattan and get a win and maybe get back on track here?
They've got to play defense. They didn't play defense against West Virginia, no defense against Oklahoma. That's what Coach said. They've got to get back to that. K-State has got Gibson down low. He's a really big center for the Wildcats. And after the Texas game, Coach Smith said that really out-muscled him down low. And so they really have to focus on making Gibson kick the ball back out so that he doesn't threaten him down low. And also, Kansas State likes to run a motion offense, so that defense really has to pick up and stop the ball in order for Texas Tech to win.
And we're about to kick Krista right out the door. We got to get you on the road to Manhattan, Kansas. And then how about down to Waco, Texas for the women's game? She'll have full coverage of those games in Manhattan and Waco. And, of course, then we'll get you reset at the end of this week for another doubleheader at United Spirit Arena. Tech men get TCU, Tech women get Kansas. a Kansas team that has shown some teeth lately. Going to be a very interesting weekend in United Spirit Arena.
Absolutely, and on the guys' end especially, they're talking about they can get 2 wins this week. It'll help them in the Big 12 standings. They really need to pop K-State in the mouth to really start that train rolling, because Jay Crockett said they can't just win one and lose one and win one and lose one. They have to really get on a roll and steamroll people to make heat in this Big 12 conference. And for the girls, they've just got to get better, play better. They can make a statement against Baylor. It doesn't mean they win. It just means they put things together. And then against Kansas, they've got to come back and play better than they did in Lawrence.
Absolutely, and you can read all of Krista's work over at LubbockOnline.com and RedRaiders.com for full coverage of Texas Tech basketball. For now, though, we're going to bid you farewell and get back to doing what we do and get Krista on the road to Manhattan and Waco. For Krista Pirtle, I'm Zach Long. This is RedRaiders.com.